Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time this finds you. Welcome. I just wanted to have this conversation with you, sharing this technique that I discovered in myself, and it can be used for helping you identify what you believe in. What, do you believe more in happy outcomes or unwanted outcomes? Now, if you look at your life and you take stock in it, and depending on how you feel about your life at this moment, you can already see where your beliefs are, depending on how you feel about your life. But I was doing this for myself this morning and realizing that, okay, you know what, this can be helpful. So I'll start by saying, the mystics, the great metaphysical teachers of old and present, talk about how for every problem, there's an answer and a solution. It's also saturated in the Bible. For every problem, there's an answer and a solution. And if we think just from this standpoint of imagination, this is true. And so this is a little exercise you can do. If you think about, say the problem is there's no clean water. Exists at that same moment in imagination is clean water. That's the answer or the solution. If you broke your finger and that's the problem, the other side of that exists is a fixed finger, right? Imprisonment, freedom, unloved, loved, no money, overweight, skinny or leaner. So for every problem in imagination, there already exists an answer, a solution in imagination. So the technique, or what it is that I do, is that when problems occur, are revealed to me, brought to my awareness, I turn my chin, I turn my face to one side. I don't care which side. I don't put any power in one shoulder over the other shoulder, but I literally turn my cheek, right? And I address the problem. I put it over on whichever shoulder, left or right. And I take a deep breath, and then I exhale out, and then I turn my head to the other shoulder, and I make space, acknowledge the answer that would solve the problem. And with that, again, you can use this to find out what it is that you believe in. Where do you put your power? Where does your focus lean? Right? And if you've managed to, at this point, secure for yourself the belief that you are the cause of everything in your world, that you are the only thinker, that you are the power, the I am of your life, then you can, from that place, say, okay, I have these two, the problem and the answer. And you can say, well, since I'm the cause of all and it's all imaginary, it's all the same. Well, it's not all the same, but you can make the decision. You can decide. You can choose which one to nurture and whatnot, and which one deserves expression. And it does take practice for this to become something beneficial. But at the very beginning, at the very least, you will start to see that it is you who is doing it. You will start to realize that you are creating the unwanted experiences by your belief alone. Your faith, you have faith. Your faith is perfect. Faith is working for you, but you will either learn, and it's not just, black or white. There's a gradient, and it depends on who you are that day, what you've eaten, what kind of sleep you've received, who you've been surrounding yourself with, what other influences are involved. But, with practice, you'll be able to sustain what Neville calls a subjective state that can be described best as controlled reverie. He talks about this in his book, The Art of Believing, Neville Goddard. So, yes, you practice this, and in the beginning, like I said, it's the best. I think one of the most important parts is realizing that it is you who is doing it by your belief. And you say, well, how do I get out of leaning more towards this? What you're gonna feel underneath, and you pray and you ask your God, you ask who you whatever his name is to you, or her name, or its name, for guidance to help kind of separate the layers a little bit, so that you have space to see and feel and get a sense internally about what's actually happening. But you're gonna kind of feel a pull. And that magnetic pull, I don't have science words for it, but that magnetic pull to go towards what you're accustomed to is just based off familiarity. What I've found is that we, and this is especially true for me, we have been conditioned to believe more in our problems, and that it has a life of its own, and that it's not a matter of our attention. It is a matter of our acceptance that that's just the way that it is. And then you gotta kind of pull that apart too, if you really want to rewire. Why do I have such an allegiance to this concept, to this story, that I have to believe in the unwanted outcomes? Well, why? Is because we do it for safety. We do it for protection. We say, if I don't, explore the unwanted scenarios, then I leave myself vulnerable and subjective to a future pain. All of it's imaginary. And sometimes our problems are right there in our face, but a lot of times we're thinking about things that haven't even happened, right? Say the problem is eviction, or the problem is divorce that hasn't happened yet, but you feel it coming, or something like that. And so again, if it's an imagination, well then it really is like playing in outer space. It is vast, and the possibilities are infinite, and there's so many ways to go. So yeah, we've been conditioned to believe more in our problems. And so prayers could be directed towards, thank you, universe, infinite spirit within, for revealing this information to me. Help guide me. Help me to turn the cheek more often and to choose that which I truly intend out of love and self-belief versus choosing to give my power and attention to problems out of fear of punishment. So, yeah, I think that there's great work to be done in us. If I can elaborate more on what it is that this pull, you really want to, in your mind, if you can, you want to separate yourself from the thoughts whenever possible, and even the emotions very quickly. Some of these have been so ingrained in us, some of these that we don't even realize that the thoughts and feelings and the behaviors and actions are separate. You look at them as whole. They've been together with you probably for years. You know, your responses to things, it's very ingrained, but it is, with practice, it's easy to separate. And when you can separate and you can see like, this is my reaction to this. This is how I would handle this. And the motivations for that reaction is because I hope to avoid an outcome or prevent something, or, you know, whatever the motivation is. And so you practice that. You know, you start with some simple problems and answers, but you recognize, like, the answers are always there in imagination. They exist in the unseen. The answers are very clear. And the way that we feel and respond to these problems lets us know what we believe in and what we're making accessible to us. You know, what we are requesting from Source. And a lot of us, if we say we examine one, let's say that the problem is money. It's a money problem, you have a deadline, or you're looking to get some funding for some project, some great thing. And that's the problem. And then you look and you say, well, the answer would be more money. But then you say, well, I've never received this amount before. I've never received a blessing of this nature before. It happens to other people. It never happens to me. It's probably it's probably for the best that I either give up on this entirely or really try to work it into being. And I need to hustle. I need to hustle like I've never done before. I mean, in just that, we're making the battle ours, right? We're making the problem something that has to be worked by our hands. We're not leveraging our imagination to produce an answer that we would prefer. Our beliefs don't support our preferences. In most cases, not without practice. And not without practice, or maybe you were fortunate to have been brought up with, you know, the information about the universal laws and how to leverage them. But as it stands, our beliefs don't support what it is that we actually want. But we are still using our imagination. Our faith is still at work. We're just imagining that, okay, this means I've got to get by on 4 hours of sleep this week, and I've got to pick up as many shifts as possible. I've been remembering Carol has been talking about taking off. I'll go pick up those hours, and even that. And when we're figuring it out, we're still using our imagination. We're just not thinking big enough. And that's because we've gotten the habit of thinking we can't think of big enough, that that's not for us, that that's for them and for those who it works for. But that doesn't work for me because I've got to do this way. And there goes condemnation. So I bless your practice. I thank you for listening. If you like this video or want more videos like this, let me know in the comments, share it. And I trust that this conversation is going to be a great inspiration for you, not just in today, but in weeks to come. I thank you, I love you, and I bless you.